Hey, this is Steve Thiel, and this is part 2 of search engine optimization, and we're focused on keyword research in this video. So, keyword research starts with picking a number of phrases that you're going to target for your client. And when you're scoping out a project and proposing to your client, you should definitely include SEO research and general on-page optimization, which we'll get to later. But for keyword research, you want to scope out 10 keyword phrases. And it's going to take you about 4 to 6 hours to do the actual research. So when you're proposing to your client SEO and keyword research, just keep that in mind that it'll take a half day to probably get the research done and present it to your client. So keyword research, you probably want to target 10 keyword phrases when just getting started. Now, when you're doing the actual keyword research, there's really two types of keyword phrases. There's low-hanging fruit, which has low competitiveness, meaning there isn't a whole lot of people competing to rank for that term. And they're typically more long-tail keyword phrases. So they have 3 to 4 words as a part of the phrase, and some of them are more creative. They're not the broad terms that you would typically think of. And then the long-term strategic keyword phrases are those ones that initially come to mind. So ones that are highly competitive and have a high amount of volume. And also thinking about the diversity of the keyword profile. So balancing between geo-targeted, which is based off of geography, is it local or regional based keywords, or is it more generic, broad terms? So before you start anywhere, you need to really focus in on what type of words are we going to be targeting. Now, we already talked a little bit about geo-targeting. You need to work with the client to figure out, are we focusing down to a city level, county level, zip codes, neighborhoods, metro areas, those type of things. And then branching out further, are we doing regional targeting? So states, territories, you could even consider a country a region. And then your non-geo-targeted words. So what are the broad terms that we're looking for? Look for products, services, brands, specific needs, those type of things. So when keyword targeting, really consider in two buckets. Is it geo-targeted or is it a broad-based term? Now, before we get started in actually doing keyword research, there's a couple tools that you need to consider using. You're going to have to use at least one of these, and the tools are Google's keyword tool, which is built into Google AdWords. And that's a free tool that anybody can use. So if you sign up for a Google account, which I'm sure you already have, just sign up for AdWords, and they have a built-in tool that you can use for free. Some more high-level professional tools that are available are SEMrush and Word Tracker. These are tools that you have to pay for, but they do give you some additional tools and insight that may be beneficial when doing keyword research. But by no means do you have to sign up and pay for those services. Google Keyword Word Tool will get you everything that you need. So to start your keyword research, you need to start by talking to your client. And there's a couple core things that you need to figure out before you do any work. So the first thing that you need to get from your client is a description of each type of audience group that your client wants to target with SEO. This is obviously going to be customers, but what type of customers? Get specific. What are their demographics? What are their job title? What are their needs, fears, wants, and desires? And then as well, you want to learn more about what they offer. So figure out what their unique selling position is, what it is that they actually offer. Get names, get descriptions, get names of suppliers that they use. Get as much information on the actual service or product offerings that they have. And then as well, you want to get a list of competitors. So these can be their ideally direct competitors, and it can be they don't have to actually be online competitors. They can be traditional offline competitors. The other thing you want to discuss with your client is the geo-targetedness of keywords. So we looked at that in the previous slide. Talk with your client and figure out, how are we targeting locally? Are we targeting regionally? Or are we just going after the broad terms for your specific products and customer needs? And then the last thing that you want to ask your clients to give you is access to their Google Analytics account or Google AdWords account login information. They may or may not have that. If they have any type of analytics program installed, definitely go there and get that login information so you can go and log into those things and look at some specific information. So here we are in Google Analytics, and I've actually logged into a client example account here to kind of show you what you should be looking at. So there's two things that you want to look at primarily. One is page content. So on the side here, you want to go to Content, All Pages, and what we're looking for here is what are the most visited pages on the website. And we really want to see where are the customers going and look at those pages and trying to figure out what is it that customers are looking for on this page and what are some of the keywords that are associated with that page. So figuring out what customers are looking at and trying to figure out the keywords that are associated with that. The next thing that we want to look at is under traffic sources and under search engine optimization and queries. Now, this particular client doesn't have Google Webmaster Tools enabled. So most of your clients are going to have this type of setup when you get here. So before you do your keyword research, you definitely need to also get Webmaster Tools set up on their current website. Now, if they don't have a current site or they don't have access to it, it's not that imperative that you get this set up if it's going to be a lot of hassle for you. But if you can connect their Webmaster Tools account to their analytics or set up a Webmaster's tool and let it run for a couple days to a week to get the data in there, that would be great. But you can get some good data on current queries that people are searching for and finding the site with right now. So after you've looked at the analytics and tried to get some good information out of there, you next need to go to the keyword tool within AdWords and do a search for the client's website. And Google is going to return a bunch of keyword ideas, and look through this list and figure out which ones match up as far as relevancy for what you've already talked about with your client as far as the target audiences, their products and services, geo-targetedness, and take a look at this list and pull out the ones that you think match. Now you can do this by clicking the download link here. You can either select the ones that you want or go ahead and download all of them. And once you've done that, we need to go ahead and import those into our own keyword research spreadsheet that we're going to be keeping track of all of our keyword ideas. So after you've downloaded the report, you're going to get something from Google that looks like this. It's going to give you the keyword, the competition, and then searches globally and then locally to the country. So we want to take all of this data and move it into our spreadsheet. Now here's what our spreadsheet looks like. We've got 4 different tabs. We've got potential targets, current rankings, competitor rankings, and recommended targets. So when you're initially working with the client to get ideas from them on keywords, go ahead and enter that in on this first sheet, potential targets, and really just entering in the phrase and whether it is geo-targeted locally, regionally, or it is broad. And then from there, taking that CSV that you've gotten from AdWords, go ahead and add that to the second sheet, current rankings for your client's website. Now you'll need to go ahead and append whether it's geo-targeted, but it will give you these fields right here. And then another one that I like to collect is also pages returned. So if you do a Google search, at the very top it'll show you the number of pages returned. It's another nice indicator as far as the competitiveness of the keyword phrase. Alright, so at this point we're ready to do the heavy lifting, which is competitive analysis. So based off of the words that we have from looking at analytics and AdWords of your client's site, we need to do searches for those top terms and analyze who is in the top 5 for each of these keywords that we're wanting to target. And then from there we're going to look at the words that they're ranking for and grab the top 10 for each competitor and put it in our spreadsheet and narrow down 2 or 3 targets for each competitor. So let's take a look at how we go about doing this. So for our example here of Spavia Day Spa, I've gone ahead and searched Denver Day Spa, and you can see it's returned a fairly interesting page. It's got ads and maps and local listings, which makes it a little bit complicated. So you need to get past all of this and go to your local listings here and go ahead and pull the top 5 from your searches. So body massage, wellness, spa, changes of Cherry Creek, etc., etc. So just go ahead and pull these domain names, and then we're going to go to the keyword tool and find out what words are they ranking for. So the process here is very similar to when you're doing research on your client's website. Go ahead and just enter in their domain name, and Google will return a whole list of keywords that we need to look at and analyze. So how do you go about analyzing the keywords? The process is relatively straightforward, and you need to have a bit of a creative eye. So just the hard analytics of it, if you're using Google Keyword Tool, look for terms that have at least 1,000 search terms per month, and look for terms that are less competitive. When you're doing a search in the keyword tool, it's only going to give you back a value of low, medium, or high. But then when you export it to a CSV, it's actually going to give you a numerical value between 0 and 1. So when you're looking at through the keyword tool, look for ones that are low and medium. And then when you're actually looking at the number value, look at ones that are 0.6 and less as far as competitiveness. And then as well, look for what I call honey holes. So, words that nobody is really targeting, but it has great volume, and there's really good potential there to get some traffic very quickly, and it's not going to take a lot to move up for those particular terms. And remember to look at the customer avatar and products and services, and don't get too creative with the keywords, because remember, we've got to get the client buy-in on this, and these terms do need to be relevant, so when someone does click through, they're going to convert and they're not going to be like, what is this? Why am I at this page? So looking at this competitor of Spavia Day Spa, Woodhouse Spas, we can see that Google has returned a list of keyword ideas, and we can see the competition, low, and then the searches. And make sure you're differentiating between global and local. There might be some differences here, and make sure you don't get too excited by a global number when you're really just focused on local searches. So looking at this list, remember that we want to have low and medium numbers, and you can see if you actually hover over it, it is going to give you that percentage value. And then the search volume, trying to target 1,000 searches per month or more. You can go less than that, but it does really, the returns are less. Now looking at some potential honey holes just based off of looking at this. Remember to think in terms of brands and products or services. So we've done a search for Woodhouse. Targeting Woodhouse Denver might be a good term that we could target. You could see the competitiveness is low, and there's about 1,000 searches per month. One way that you can attack this potential honey hole is on your client's website. Have a page where they're differentiating themselves from a specific competitor, where you're including keywords like this one. And then another one is Reflexology Denver. This could either be a brand or possibly a product. I'm not sure. But same concept. If there's specific brands or products that your customer sells, typically there's going to be less competition for that, and you can easily create a web page on the website that targets that specific keyword. So again, you're going to export your list, and you'll get something back like this from Google. And then from there, you want to go ahead and import it into the competitor ranking sheet. So very same layout, except we've added an extra column here called competitor URL. And we want to make sure that we enter that in just so we can keep it organized when we're searching and sorting the keyword phrases. And to search and sort, you want to search and sort by the volume and competitiveness. So make sure that you're using those advanced sorting features to help you sift through the data and pick the 2 or 3 keywords that you want from each of the competitors. And so at this point, you should have narrowed down your list to 10 recommendations. And the only difference on this recommendation spreadsheet is we're doing it by priority. And this is what I typically will show to my client. I'll print it off into a PDF and send it to them and have a conversation around the information that I've collected. I'll show them where we started with the potential targets, talk about their current rankings, and then really dive into what the competitors are doing and what they're ranking for, and show them the full list and highlight the ones that I would like to target based off of my research, and explaining to them that we'd like a good mix of local, regional, and broad terms. We think for some short-term gains we should target these types of keywords that have low competitiveness, and here's some creative ideas that we have as far as going after some specific keywords that are focused around your competitors and your brands. So, share this data with your client and be as transparent as you can, and have a conversation around the research and show it to them and get buy-in on these keywords. So that's it for keyword research. In the next video, I'll show you how to take these keywords and actually use it to do on-page optimization on your Business Catalyst website.